Okay. Yeah, my latency's high still. Thanks, man. Hey, so I actually just restarted my stream because it was lagging. So, how does it look? Does my stream look okay? Just try popping one of these random dungeons. It looks good? Okay, nice. Yeah, I think I just turned up like my bitrate and some of my settings too high. I haven't written any guides on Shred and NATO. I think I've pretty much just done Bulwark. I was planning to do some tornado guides, but I've just really kind of fallen in love with this build. I haven't really wanted to play anything else. It's just too strong. I'm not sure, to be honest. I'd have to play around with it. I haven't tried it. I'm really not one of these guys who tries like a ton of different builds usually. I'm more like I like to find a build and just like optimize it and tweak it and min-max it as best I can, you know? I know that part of the game is fun for me. Though I am leveling this second druid to 100 just so I can have another druid that I do play around with, and I can do other specs and stuff with. I mean, I don't think I get full fortify from a single bulwark usually. I think it takes me several. I think it's pretty normal, like, because whenever, like, if you've seen me at the start of a dungeon, when I think about it, I try and, like, claw the air and get my fortify up, like, before I fight, and, yeah, it usually takes me 3 or 4 casts to get fully fortified. Oh. 75% damage resistance while injured. Yeah, 74.5. That's fine, man. That's going to be a big increase to your survivability. That's probably plenty to go injured. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, play around with it. So that's kind of the cool thing about Bulwark is like a lot of these like videos I'm making and concepts that are Bulwark specific. You can take off Poison Creeper and throw Shred on here and still, like, you know, scale your barriers the same way and make a really strong hybrid build like that, probably, right? I just haven't personally experimented with that, but I definitely encourage you guys to do it. And if you do something like that and it works, I'd love to hear about it. Sounds cool. The damage reduction while injured caps at 81.7% if you have max rolls on your pants, your amulet, and your boots. I only know that because I had 81.7 for a while, and I've actually lost some damage reduction while injured to pick up like some barrier gen and stuff. It's not a waste to go further than that, man. I'm just over 100% myself, but more is better, and you want ranks of Earth and Bulwark as well as of right now. Just know, like, we don't know what's gonna happen with the patch tomorrow. Yeah. So you can. There's not like an overcapping that I can tell. Like, it's just like the higher you get your ranks of Earth and Bulwark, and the higher you get your barrier generation, the higher you can get your barrier as long as you get your life up to that value. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens with the patch tomorrow. Yeah, it sounds cool. So that's the thing. You can do like a hybrid build with this build. Like, you can turn into a hybrid pretty easy because you could replace the Cyclone armor, you could replace the Poison Creeper, you could even replace the Hurricane, right? Like, it's really not a huge deal as long as you keep like the Claw and the Bulwark. That's really the core of the build. You can kind of mix and match a lot of other skills. I know some people have been talking about using like Trample with it, and then you get, is it Trample or the Landslide, and then you get the accelerating aspect for an extra 25% attack speed, which sounds pretty cool. But I haven't experimented with that myself, so I can't speak to how good it is. Yeah, absolutely. So you definitely feel the loss of DPS with losing Pack Leader. If you can get life from another source, then you don't have to Spirit Bond with the deer, right? And you can just keep the Spirit Bond with the snake, so you can have that Pack Leader. Where is it? Yeah, so what I would probably do if you want to keep Pack Leader... Oh, here we go. So you could say Spirit Bonded with the Wolf and keep Pack Leader if you just picked up some extra HP on like your health and your... I mean on your chest and your pants, right? Instead of like some damage reduction stats, you could pick up some health here. You could also just use like a Fortitude Elixir, right? If you're not using Iron Skin. But if your armor's low, you're probably going to want to use Iron Skin instead. Yeah, so RAR Extreme, I'm not 100% sure about this, but uh, from my testing, the way I think it works is since Great Staff of the Crone says Claw is a storm skill and also casts Storm Strike, um, every time you use Claw, you're actually using Claw and you're using Storm Strike, so you get two chances to proc your Nature's Fury. Whereas if you're using like a 110 and a Totem, I think it only counts as one attack. So you would theoretically need like double the attack speed to get the same amount of procs with the one hand axe and one hand totem setup as you get with the Crone Staff. Um, and I'm not 100% sure that's exactly how it works, but that's the way it seems to work. That's my guess on how it actually works. And yeah, I did Lilith with 15k life and barrier. If you saw my video, and I tanked like 4 of those skulls with 1 barrier in phase uh, 2. So maybe like if you have 12k barrier instead of 4 skulls, maybe you can only tank 3. You could probably still do Lilith. Um, yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure this build was able to do Lilith before this patch. I just, like, am bad. But, it's just so strong now that even being bad, it doesn't matter. For this current patch, use the new one, 1.1.2 Versatile. But keep an eye out for what happens with the patch tomorrow, because if they revert these changes, we're probably gonna go back to something pretty close to my my leveling build, or my end game build. One of those two. I don't know. Yeah, I think I was able to tank like 3 sets of spikes too. It's so ridiculous. Okay, I gotta find this dude. Oh, and I just realized I'm not even running Disobedience right now either. So my armor's pretty low. I took off Disobedience for Lilith, right? Since I didn't need the extra armor for the 85% damage reduction. So that's one thing you can do if you're trying to fight Lilith right now. No, I haven't. I saw that though. I saw Matt Justic made a video on that, and that looked super cool. Probably something I'm gonna try at some point. No, Paz, the way they changed it with this patch, so you actually want to have like all 5 points invested to have a bigger barrier. Yeah, no problem, man. I was also a barb main in the preseason, and yeah, I just couldn't do it anymore. So I'm so glad I chose to play Druid in season 1. It's so much better than barb. Check my build guide in the description, Paz, if you want to see. It's got all my planners and stuff if you want to see what I recommend for the skills. But you can also get ranks of Bulwark on your chest and defensive skills on your amulet now. So I would do that as well.
I can break that down.
Whoa. Look at these tornado gloves, guys. These are kind of sick.
There's that.
I gotta play tornado now.
Can still use these.
These are definitely better than my tornado gloves. The crit's a little low. Roll attack speed on them though. Bulwark charging? What do you mean by that, X? Oh, Paz. No, yeah, if your barrier's the size of your life, you need more life, not more barrier generation. But ideally, I mean, you want both. You don't want uh your barrier generation to be bottlenecked by your life, but you also don't want to drop barrier generation, right? It's better to increase life than drop barrier generation, if that makes sense. Because like barrier generation is just crazy, crazy for us this patch. Like it's like by far our best stat, except for maybe these ranks of Earth and Bulwark could be better, but yeah, barrier generation is crazy. Well, so I switched the spirit boon for the plus 14% health, and then I picked up health on my rings, and I picked up health on my helmet, so. Oh, yeah. I can explain that. Here, let me go do that. I know exactly what you mean, Hex. Yeah, barrier generation is like what we want because it helps our barriers. Fortified generation is kind of trash for us because we're like fortified 100% of the time anyways. So it's not like super valuable. Okay. So let me let my fortify wear down. Oh. So a lot of times I'm like lazy and forget to do this, but it's good practice to do, and what you always should do when you first run into a nightmare dungeon, you want to just spam claw in the air and start using your earthen bulwark. And whenever you do that, because of your bolster spirit boon, where is it? Because of this boon right here, right? Every time you use your defensive skill, you get fortify. So you don't have to actually fight monsters. You can just claw the air and spam your earthen bulwark, and you can get your fortify up to 100% before you ever fight anything, right? That way you make sure you have like maximum damage reduction. And what you should also do is make sure you have a barrier up, and then you have like another barrier off cooldown ready to go when you run into a pack, so you can just instantly press it. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? But yeah, you'll notice I do that in a lot of my videos. Like, I always try and do it. Like, you're supposed to do it. It's optimal to do it. When you first go into a dungeon or whatever, you do this and you get your fortify out. Yep, that's exactly what I would do, man. Run masochistic for sure if you're not doing low life. Let me see here. Yeah, I would probably do the same thing. I would just run masochistic, and still you're gonna want lots of barrier generation instead of damage reduction while injured. Try and get like damage reduction while fortified, damage reduction from close, stuff like that. Yeah, I mean I have it toggled. Let me see what I did. I have it like this. So you uncheck the combine move basic thing, and then I just bind it to the core skill slot, right? That's how I do it, so I can just hold it. Did I open a nightmare dungeon? I don't remember. No, I guess not. There should be like a thing on your map or something that says like, here's your nightmare dungeon is open. This is what it is. And like a button to teleport to it. Right? I shouldn't have to like search the map to try and figure out if I have one. So from what I've seen, the changes, like the increased levels of Bulwark and the changes don't actually increase the damage of innate earthen Bulwark, and that makes sense because the tooltip number for the damage hasn't really changed in the latest patch. So yeah, I don't think it. Oh, the earth damage passives. I'm not sure. I know it benefits from like the affixes on like the crone staff and stuff, so I think it should. What's up, Andre? Yep, Corey's right. That's why I focus on the defenses, because like if you're fighting like level 100, or if you're fighting monsters in tier 100 dungeons, like you're gonna one-shot them anyways. So don't worry as much about damage, and instead worry about like your survivability. Yeah, so Dan, that's kind of like my argument for the Envenom. If you want more damage, it's excellent, right? But for me, like damage is just overkill on this build. I'd rather get more like defense or move speed. The build guide in my description is up to date. Check that one out. I just released it this morning, and I don't. I pretty much never use Cyclone Armor when fighting mobs unless I'm like about to die and I can hit it as like a panic button. It's pretty cool because you've got a 30%. I'll try this one. I don't know. I haven't even cleared this dungeon yet. I get an aspect for this. Working on my codex power, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's overkill. If you're doing like Lilith, then maybe Envenom would be really good. But like for the Nightmare dungeons, I wouldn't bother. It's just like you do so much damage without it. One second, guys. Oh yeah. So the Cyclone Armor, whenever you use it, you have a 30% chance to get a free Earthen Bulwark, right? Because of your Nature's Fury key passive, right? Storm skill. Wow, I can't talk. Storm skill gives you a 30% chance for free Earth skill. It's just annoying because then like you push monsters away, and then you gotta chase them down. Yeah, I wish I had werewolf armor on my amulet. I got the regular armor roll, which is kind of sad. Wow, thorn beasts and chargers in here. I might get smoked. And ghosts. Is my stream still lagging, guys? Or is it okay? That's a good question, man. I'm not sure how you would check visually. It's about here where I am. Maybe that helps. Oh, the heartbeat. There you go. So I guess you only see the heartbeat when you're injured? Am I not injured right now? Or is that below like 30% or something? I think he's talking about that there's that red glow around the screen and you hear the heart beating noise. You can see it here too. It's beating here. I've always just gone by the number, you know, because I'm like a number guy. And yeah, that's an excellent question, though. I don't know how I would handle that on PlayStation. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, you guys can't see the barrier numbers, and we don't have the auto corpse targeting on Necro, so it's a little give and take there, I guess. Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. Sometimes your Bulwark will just push them away, you gotta chase them down. Ooh, artillery? Oh, no. Curse Shrine? That's cool. Yeah, I mean, Tornado's like, Tornado feels so good for like clear speed and in the open world, but it's paper thin compared to this. You can make them tanky, but not like this. Tornado's ranged though, so that's pretty cool. Artillery Shrine's so crazy on this build. Okay. See ya. Oh, can you not like plug in a keyboard to type on Diablo 4? I just assumed you could do that. Jekyll, it depends on your stats, right? Like ideally, if you have 13k armor already, yeah, then you would probably actually use like an attack speed elixir, right? But if you're like short on HP, like you're bottlenecking your barrier with your HP, then you could drink a fortitude and that would be good. Otherwise, probably the iron skin. Like a fortitude wouldn't help me, right? Because my life is higher than my barrier. So I'm using iron skin. I can't craft the fortitudes. There's I think there might be a recipe that you can get, but I don't have it. My stream is so laggy. What is going on here, guys? Let me try changing some settings again. Okay. Let's see if this is any better. No, so for armor, armor doesn't really seem to have any diminishing returns that I've noticed. That's why I like always recommend you prioritize armor, and like I think pretty much every character in the game should try and get like 85% damage reduction like from armor on whatever they're trying to fight, because it's just such a powerful defensive like divisor, right? So yeah, stack all the armor you can up to like 13k, because that's where you hit 85% damage reduction against monsters in a tier 100 dungeon. There you go, 13,440. That sounds right. I was just trying to shoot for 13k. But there you go. So that last 400 armor is actually going to make a big difference, because like the closer you get to 85%, the more valuable it is. So definitely make sure you hit the 85% cap. So if you're fighting Lilith, you're not going to need that much armor, right? You need much less. But if you're doing tier 100 nightmare dungeons, you need a lot of armor. If you're doing like tier 60 nightmare dungeons, obviously you're going to need much less armor as well. So just try and get enough armor to get 85% damage reduction versus whatever stuff you're planning to fight.
I've been starting from nothing. What's left, you ask? What's left, you ask?
What class am I playing next? That's a good question. Rogue or Sork?
What's still got some good in it? I've been starting from nothing.
Yeah, I've heard of a few people doing the landslide bulwark. Are you using the accelerating aspect? I'm gonna say yes, up to especially if your goal is tier 100 nightmare dungeons. Except I would say take fortified damage over close, since fortified also works against like ranged enemies. Um, but yeah, those two stats are both very good. Oh, Naju, I was just asking if you're using the accelerating aspect, since you're using landslide. Because when I was thinking about that build, I was thinking it would be pretty cool because you could get that extra 25% attack speed from the accelerating aspect, which would be pretty neat. Let's see, what are we running, guys? Let's try this one. Slayer node? Was that this one? Yeah. It could be. I mean, it's extra armor. Armor's really good, but you just have to figure out what you're going to take points out of. If you wanted to pick up Slayer, you could probably take some points out of like some crit damage or something. It's not a bad idea. Yeah, it's a lot of armor. Yeah, I streamed on Twitch, and a bunch of people told me like they would rather me just stream on YouTube because like that's where like I'm meeting most of you guys anyways, and it kind of makes sense when I think of it that way. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to meet you guys here on YouTube and then ask you to come over and watch me on Twitch. Why don't I just stay here on YouTube, right? Um, yeah, I swapped off the Revenge Heart because it seemed like the damage suppression didn't work when you have a barrier up, right? Because if your barrier falls down, you see that fire effect, and I think that's this suppressed damage. So since I'm not usually seeing that, it seems like it's not giving us the damage reduction. So I figured the immunity would be more useful. And it did actually save me on Lilith once. Alright guys, I gotta clear this dungeon. Do some Garen hold. I don't even know what monsters are in here. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I don't need the armor, personally. But if you need the armor, yeah, coming up here, this is a lot of armor. Definitely a good idea. I would probably take points out of just some of the damage clusters, like some of the crit clusters, maybe. Well, so the problem hide, attack speed is just so powerful on this build because it's like, it's not just an offensive stat, it's a defensive stat, right? So, I don't know. I really like the attack speed, and I also really like the HP. Because the problem is, you could drop the HP, but then you have to get life probably on your chest and pants, right? And if you do that, you lose 2 defensive stats. So maybe that's worth it. I don't know, but I don't like it. I place a really high premium on the defensive affix on the chest and the pants.
Must wait a moment.
Yeah, I don't know. Making a tornado build tank is tough. It's just like, it's just a matter of scaling your armor and then your other damage reduction stats. Definitely need 85% armor. I had a buddy who played where NATO injured and used the deer while injured stats, which was pretty cool. I don't know how exactly, like his exact build, but it worked pretty well. Oh, I healed too much. That was bad. Yeah. Yeah, so that's a really good example of what happens when I don't stay injured. So like what I'm supposed to do there is leave the dungeon and let the enemies outside the dungeon weaken me. But yeah, Einmal, you just don't use potions, right? Because we're not healing our health, right? We're healing our barrier. Because I cast Earth and Bulwark and I create this 8,000 barrier. So then if some monsters hit me and it goes down to 4,000, but then I cast it again, it heals back up to 8,000, right? So they're constantly just damaging my barriers and I'm healing them up. So they never get to actually damage my main life pool. Is my stream still really laggy, guys? It looks like a slideshow on my other computer. Okay. See if that helps any. Yeah, I think it's probably just my FPS because like streaming is lagging my computer. Oh hey, thanks for coming by, JB. Yeah, this is my first time streaming on YouTube, so we're just trying to get all the settings figured out and stuff. It's kind of a mess right now.
I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet.
Let me try just turning down like my graphics. I should just put all this stuff on low. Whereas oh, I crashed. All right. Let's see if my settings even updated. Yes, Jake. This is my second Druid for Season 1. Making it a second Druid just so I can keep one Bulwark and have the other one to play around with like different builds and stuff. I'm like a one character at a time type guy, you know. I'm gonna pick one class for sure per season probably and just focus on that. I might try some other builds and stuff with that class, but I don't know, we'll see. 3 months is a long time. Oh, I lost my nightmare dungeon, huh? Because I crashed. That's fun. Okay, well, my settings are on low now, so you guys can let me know if this is better. Oh, is it? Yeah, that's what it looks like to me too. I'm using OBS. It looks fine on my computer. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is looking a little better. Wait a sec. How's this, guys? Is this any better? Or is this the same? It's gonna be tomorrow. Hmm. Okay. Well, I'll keep going then. That's cool. We'll do a little more. I feel bad that the quality's low, but I'll try and figure it out. For my next stream, I guess. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. How's the audio? Is the audio laggy as well, or is it just the video? Okay, cool. Oh, really? That's an interesting point. Okay. Well, that's good. That tells me that it's probably not an OBS setting then. I just need to figure out what's going on with Diablo. I just turned everything to low, so I don't know what else I do. Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'm sure there's a million tutorials and stuff. I just kind of decided to stream on YouTube today, spur of the moment. So I'll figure it out.
I must wait. I'm not ready yet. I must wait a moment.
Yeah. I love Cerats. I love Blind Burrows for the same reason, just because it's like the one dungeon that actually felt like it had density even before the patch, and like now, yeah, it's great.
I'm not ready yet.
Personally, I wouldn't use Temerity on this build, just because you lose so many defensive stats. And I feel like the barrier from the Temerity, like it kind of competes with our barrier, right? Like they kind of do the same thing. So, and you also lose a defensive affix, which is kind of sad, because those are also pretty valuable.
I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet.
Oh boy, that was close. Am I dead here?
I'm not ready yet.
No, we're good. Hey, what's up, Retribution? My most updated build is in the description of this stream. I just uploaded it this morning, so that's the one you should look at.
I must wait a moment. I must wait a moment. I must wait a moment. I must wait a moment.
Yeah, I prefer attack speed over CDR, but a little CDR is nice. So I will say, I did drop all the CDR on this version of the build, and there's a couple times where if you proc your symbiotic twice real quick, you'll be waiting like a second on a Bulwark. But I think like overall attack speed just feels way better, and I think now, like especially now with the state of the game, like with this hotfix, it's now we need life as well as all these other things we needed before. So there's just not really room for CDR in the build. But we'll have to see what happens tomorrow, because if they revert these barrier changes, I might go back to including CDR in the build, at least on one piece. Maybe not on the annual, but maybe still on the helm instead of the life.
I'm not ready yet. I must wait a moment.
Yeah, for sure. Ah, I healed too much. Oh, that's sad. I don't want to leave. I'm just doing it. Oh, 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 we're good. Maybe.
I'm not ready yet. I must wait a moment.
Is there anything for this build that you guys want more explanation on, or that you would like me to make a video on?
I must wait a moment.
No, that's it, I guess.
I'm not ready yet.
Nice. I guess I don't pay that much attention to it, but yeah, I probably should turn that off. Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier. Retribution. It could be. So the problem is, I mean, you're gonna lose a lot of move speed and phasing, which is, you know, gonna slow down your clear speed a little bit, but it would result in like a larger barrier for like more like overall survivability, you know. So that would definitely be an interesting thing to run. You get the thing is, we're just getting to this point where this build is already just so tanky. You know, I don't know. I feel like I'd rather have the movement speed. It's kind of like how I feel on the necklace. Like I don't have movement speed on my necklace, and it makes me really sad because I had a neck with move speed on it before, and the difference it makes when you have that extra like 25% move speed is just so crazy. Just like all the time, an extra 25% move speed feels so good. All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate everyone tuning in. I'm gonna try and go through my settings and see if I can't fix this lag issue. Um, but yeah, I'll probably be on. I'll be on again soon. So yeah, I'll catch y'all. I'll catch y'all later. I appreciate the support.